Due to a shark attack, 5 women are stranded in the middle of the ocean, turning a supposed intimate wedding celebration into a disaster. One night, a couple named Meg and Kayla encounter a group of delinquents who express contempt for their relationship. In hopes of avoiding trouble, the couple simply passes by, but one of the delinquents calls them a slur. Kayla curses at her in return, leading Meg to chastise her for her behavior. Suddenly, the provoked delinquent grabs Meg from behind and throws her down the stairs. Now that Meg's unconscious, the group proceeds to attack her. Kayla tries to save her, but she's outnumbered. A year after their traumatic encounter, Meg stands near the airport conveyor belt, waiting for her bag to appear. She notices a couple arguing near her, making her anxious. Therefore, she consults her meditation application and performs a breathing exercise. Shortly after, Meg receives a text message from her friend, Cam, who humorously pleads with her not to kill her. Meg thinks she's joking, but her smile fades when she comes across her ex-girlfriend. She checks her phone and learns that Cam has sent Kayla to pick her up from the airport. Though Meg's visibly uncomfortable in her presence, Kayla tries to help her in carrying her bags. Meg declines and insists she can manage. Kayla acknowledges her response and invites her to leave instead. Inside their taxi, Kayla apologizes for not informing Meg of her attendance at the upcoming wedding ceremony, reasoning that the bride-to-be, Lizzie, reckons she won't come. Meg nonchalantly tells her it's fine, further adding to the awkwardness in the air. Moving on, Kayla asks Meg how she's been, but before she can answer, their taxi abruptly stops. Meg gets transported back to the night of her attack. Kayla notices her distress, so she assures her she's alright. Upon arriving at their destination, Meg marvels at the grandness of the venue. Kayla leads her to meet their other friends when Cam appears. It's been a while since the pair have met, causing them to share a fierce hug. Meg inquires about the bride, and Cam tells her that she's doing good. At the mention of her, Lizzie hugs Meg from behind, surprising her. They share a brief hug and proceed to catch up. Later in their meal, Dom, Lizzie's fiancé, delivers his speech of appreciation for his sister. He emphasizes that through Cam, he met the love of his life. Then, he initiates a toast in honor of Lizzie. When they're alone at their table, Meg wonders why only a few people are invited to the wedding. Kayla explains that Lizzie wants an intimate wedding, much to Dom's parents' disapproval. Despite their initial reaction, Cam shares that Dom stood up against them, something he'd never done before. Speaking of parents, Ruth expresses her disappointment with Lizzie's mother for not attending her daughter's wedding ceremony. Cam shares the same sentiment towards Lizzie's mother, so she opines that they're her family. The next day, Cam leads the group to the docks with a plan of island hopping. Ruth admires a yacht nearby, believing it'll be their mode of transportation. However, Cam proudly introduces them to a shabby-looking boat, much to Ruth's disappointment. In Cam's defense, their boat will provide them with a better adventure experience than a yacht. Moreover, the boat is the only vehicle she can borrow. Upon boarding the boat, Cam starts to collect her friend's phone, but Lizzie refuses. She worries about the possibility of an emergency. Ruth interjects and argues Lizzie to abide by Cam's rules, stressing that disconnecting might benefit her. Like Ruth, Kayla believes she should surrender her phone, especially since she's always glued to it. Tired of the exchange, Meg orders Lizzie to just comply. Later, the group reaches a remote island, and Kayla excitedly gets off the boat. Ruth coerces Meg to accompany her, and the woman begrudgingly complies. Once the ex-couple's reunited, Cam starts the engine, upsetting Kayla. Ruth explains they're gonna leave them alone so they can resolve the unspoken issue between them. For Kayla, their idea is ridiculous, especially since they're gonna be stranded on an isolated island. Cam assures her they'll be fine as the rest of the group will be waiting for them on the other side. Throughout their time together, Meg and Kayla refuse to talk with each other. To escape the dead air around them, Kayla builds a sandcastle, whereas Meg scribbles on the sand. Realizing they're wasting time, Meg invites Kayla to have the closure they deserve. As the pair are swimming, Meg assures Kayla she isn't blaming her anymore for the incident. Meg believes she's simply unlucky, but Kayla dismisses such a thought, especially since she nearly died. Unbeknownst to the pair, a shark is lurking behind them. After a while, on the other side of the island, Cam notices that Meg and Kayla have their hands intertwined. Kayla whispers to Meg about how mean their plan of pretending they're back together is. Meg assures her it's fine, especially since their friends deserved a little prank. Now in character, they approach Lizzie, and Kayla asks her if they can have a double wedding. Surprise is written on Lizzie's face, whereas Cam and Ruth are celebrating their revelation. Though surprised, Lizzie gives her blessing to hold a double wedding ceremony. All of a sudden, their festive mood dampens as Ruth behaves oddly. Cam checks on her, but Ruth insists she's fine. However, when her blood mingles with water, her denial becomes fruitless. Her friends come to rescue her and take her back to the shore. Cam tries to tend to Ruth's wounds, but they're severe, leading her to lose blood slowly. Because of Ruth's situation, Lizzie realizes that a shark attacked her friend. Therefore, she chastises Cam for taking them into shark-infested waters. To preserve her sanity, Cam ignores her and voices that they need to search for an object that'll help stop Ruth's bleeding. She orders Lizzie to retrieve her scarf, and the woman complies. Upon receiving it, Cam tightly wraps the scarf around Ruth's injury. Afterward, the group carries her into their boat and carefully lays her on her back. Meg advises her friends to call for an emergency. Cam urges Kayla to use her phone. Unfortunately, Kayla discovers that Cam's phone has no signal. While Kayla checks on their phones, Lizzie powers the engine and begins to navigate the boat. In the middle of the ocean, Cam observes that they're nearing a reef, so she commands Lizzie to slow down. Lizzie fails to hear her words, causing their boat to crash into the reef. As a result, a hole in the boat's bottom invites water inside. Meg tries to obstruct the passage of water with fabric, but the effect is only temporary. Without a choice, Meg helps Kayla scoop out the water. Panic ensues among the women, so Lizzie tries to be optimistic by saying that rescue will come soon. On the other hand, Kayla is skeptical about it, stressing that they're in the middle of nowhere and they're yet to see another boat. Out of frustration, she blames Cam for being too carefree and adventurous. Meg reprimands Kayla for her outburst, which silences her quickly. She orders her to search for life jackets, whereas she continues to keep Ruth conscious. Kayla checks the boat's storage area and discovers there's only one life jacket left. Cam insists there should be more inside, but Kayla emphasizes there isn't. Again, Kayla scolds Cam, but this time for her unpreparedness. Meg interrupts their conversation by ordering Kayla to give her the life jacket and keep the phone dry. As Kayla checks the phone, she informs Meg that there's still no signal. Since the water fills the boat, the group decides to vacate it. However, Meg notices that Lizzie's unmoving and quietly muttering to herself. She checks on Lizzie, and the woman reveals she can't swim due to her past trauma of almost drowning. Because of a revelation, Meg assures her they won't swim but will only tread water. Kayla grabs a buoy for Lizzie and encourages her. Once they're in the water, Kayla announces that Cam's phone is dead, so she throws it away. The group tries their best to stay afloat, but Lizzie begins to lose hope. Meg remains patient with her and gives her words of encouragement. Still, Lizzie believes she isn't strong enough and proceeds to blame the diet she is following. In her defense, she simply wants to look nice for her wedding photos. Meg assures her she'll look amazing at her wedding, perking Lizzie up. To lift their moods, Lizzie reminds Meg about their upcoming double wedding. Kayla confesses to lying that they're back together, disappointing Lizzie. In the middle of their conversation, Cam interjects and accuses Lizzie of kicking her. When she denies Cam's accusations, a shark appears, and it causes panic among the group. To assure them, Lizzie shares that the shark is simply curious and won't attack them at the moment. She reveals that she used to watch shark documentaries with her father, hence her meager knowledge of their behavior. Seeing the shark curiously surrounding them, Lizzie advises the group on a way to deal with it. They have to punch it on either its nose, eyes, or gills. Now, they return their attention to Ruth, and they discover that she's lost too much blood, leading to her death. Through a heartbreaking decision, Cam voices they need to get rid of her corpse. Meg supports her idea, so Cam proceeds to remove the life vest from Ruth's body. Then, she apologizes to her for indirectly causing her death. On the other hand, Meg and Kayla kiss her for the last time. Ruth's body floats away from the group, and the blood leaking out of her wound attracts the shark's attention. Eventually, the creature devours her, ending her misery. While mourning the loss of their friend, Meg inquires Cam about how far they are from the land. Cam informs her it's located in the northern direction, but she's unsure of how far it is. Determined to leave, Meg suggests that one of them should swim for help. At first, Cam volunteers, but Meg insists she must go. Kayla assumes the responsibility since she's the strongest swimmer among them. Cam asks her if she's sure, and Kayla confirms. Without a choice, the group allows her to seek help. During Kayla's absence, Cam and Lizzie engage in a heated argument. Lizzie blames Cam for disrupting her supposed preparation for her wedding because of her poor decision-making. Cam retaliates by reprimanding her for constantly victimizing herself. Due to her intense emotions, Cam mentions Ruth's fate and Kayla's noble sacrifice to seek help. Lizzie opines they shouldn't allow her to go alone, especially since she might encounter trouble along the way. For this reason, she recommends recommends they reveal Kayla's plan before it's too late, but Cam disapproves of it. Lizzie insists Meg deserves to know the truth, so Cam acknowledges her point. She takes the honor of informing Meg that Kayla was supposed to propose to her on the night of her attack. However, they broke up and Dom stole her thunder. Now enlightened, Meg wishes to speak with Kayla, so she quickly swims toward her. Cam chases after Meg since her actions are too brash. As the pair reach a distance, Lizzie notices a shark moving in their direction, leading her to alarm them of its presence. Unfortunately, Cam is oblivious to her calls, allowing the shark to injure her. Concerned, Meg tells her they need to stop the bleeding, but Cam refuses. She decides to fight the shark, a sacrifice she's willing to make. With a knife in hand, Cam attempts to confront the shark, but the creature shoves her, causing her to lose her weapon. She waits for the shark's return only for her to get bitten. Regardless, she tries to fight it with her fists, but it devours her completely. The sight of Cam's death traumatizes Meg, hence she's jumpy when Lizzie approaches her. Tearfully, she informs her friend about Cam's sacrifice and demise. Lizzie shares that she's trying to lure the shark in her direction, but she fails. She starts to feel miserable for directing demeaning words toward Cam, emphasizing she doesn't mean any of them. Despite her worries, Meg calms her and commends her for her efforts to save them. Hours later, Kayla's yet to appear with their rescue, so an exhausted Meg suggests they begin to swim. Lizzie declines and opines that they must stay put so their rescuers will know where to find them. To distract themselves, Lizzie tells Meg about her plans for her honeymoon with Dom. She reveals that they got a yacht and she aims to sip champagne on its deck. While Lizzie's engrossed with her storytelling, Meg notices a boat nearing their location. The pair are joyous, especially with Kayla's success in seeking rescue. They begin to shout for help to alert them of their presence. Contrary to their assumption, the boat's actually a yacht which simply passes them by. A frustrated Lizzie curses at them, and Meg calms her down. Shortly after, Lizzie resumes divulging Kayla's struggles to Meg. According to her, Kayla's never forgiven herself for the night of Meg's attack. Speaking of Kayla, the woman is still on her way to reach the resort. Later that night, a thunderstorm aggravates the tides, causing Lizzie to lose grip of the buoy. She tries to retrieve it, but she can't reach it anymore. After the thunderstorm, Meg slowly falls asleep as exhaustion takes a toll on her. Lizzie urges her to stay awake because she must remain afloat. Meg begins to sink and the water awakens her. Immediately, Lizzie pulls her close and tells her she's just making sure she's paying attention. Lizzie offers Meg to take the life jacket, especially since she is already exhausted. Meg declines her offer as she is concerned that Lizzie can't swim. Out of guilt, Lizzie apologizes for being the mastermind of reconnecting her with Kayla, which led them to their current situation. When sleep has claimed Meg, Lizzie puts their friendship bracelets in Meg's pocket. Afterward, she assures her friend that she'll be fine. The following morning, Meg awakens alone with a life jacket on. She calls Lizzie's name, but she isn't responding. Therefore, Meg removes her life jacket and searches for her friend underwater. Sadly, Lizzie's nowhere to be found. Meg realizes that her friend sacrificed herself just to keep her alive. Suddenly, she discovers that the currents are taking away her life jacket, so she swims to retrieve it. Moments later, Meg begins to swim to find help when she stumbles upon the shark. As the underwater creature is about to attack her, Meg punches its nose, preventing it from devouring her. However, Meg discovers that its teeth have grazed her, causing blood to trickle from her hand. She tries to stop the bleeding, but the shark has returned. Left without a choice, Meg removes her life jacket and smothers her blood into the equipment. Then, she throws it away to keep the shark busy. The shark takes the bait, but it quickly tears the life jacket in pieces. Now, the shark returns its attention to Meg and proceeds to chase after her. She manages to climb to the top of the reef, but she injures herself in the process. Hence, Meg removes her top and rips it in half to wrap it around her wound. Due to exhaustion, Meg allows herself to lie down, uncaring that her injured hand is touching the water. The shark senses the blood from her wound, so it tries to bite her hand. Thankfully, Meg manages to dodge its attack. Just as she thinks she can recuperate, she faces another dilemma: the rising tide and the appearance of the numerous sharks. When Meg's prepared to fight them, she spots a rescue boat approaching her with Kayla aboard. Since the boat has yet to reach her, she proceeds to dive into the water to avoid the shark from devouring her. She swims in the boat's direction ocean and grabs Kayla's hand. While she's still clinging onto Kayla's hand, the shark tries to bite her, but it fails. Kayla, alongside the rescuer's help, successfully pulls Meg into the boat. Meg expresses her relief that she returned with help, and Kayla reminds her she keeps her promises. Out of curiosity, Kayla asks about their friends' whereabouts, but Meg tearfully informs her they're gone. Meg notices Lizzie's friendship bracelets in her pocket, further making her emotional. Kayla sympathizes with her, so she hugs and comforts Meg. Because they're the only people left, Kayla opines they must go home together.
Subscribe to watch more videos like this, turn on notifications and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.